Welcome back to my channel. Hi everyone, thank you so much for coming back. Today we're going to switch gears just a little bit and we're going to throw in a viewer requested video about stalkers. Now this video is probably going to be a little bit controversial, but I'm okay with that because I think you guys need the truth and you need to be able to, authentically and honestly engage in self-reflection and reflecting upon other people in your life. So this video hopefully will meet a lot of you where you are at or where you have been in the past, and hopefully it will give you the answers to some of the questions that you have. Now, today's video is how not to become a stalker. We're really focusing on resentful and rejected stalkers because these two individuals truly lack what they are desiring in other people inside of themselves. And so as we go along, I'm going to give you a little bit of criteria on what they look like, how they behave, what they do. And then I'm also going to post in the description box below and in the cards above some videos that I've done in the past on this topic. Let's jump in. Let me briefly introduce myself. My name is Tamara and I'm an internationally and board certified trauma therapist. I'm also licensed in mental health and I specialize in treating children, teens, and families as well as adults who are dealing with trauma. I also do YouTube videos now pretty regularly and I enjoy doing them. So let me know in the comment section below if you have a subject you want me to cover. Characteristics. I've done videos like this one right here on psychotic stalkers. I've done videos like this one right over here on intimate and rejected stalkers. And I've done a host of other videos on narcissistic stalkers in an attempt to help you identify exactly what you are dealing with. And so in today's video, I'm kind of turning the tables a little bit and I'm going to highlight how not to become a stalker yourself. And here's why. There's a lot of people who envision the term stalker as a negative connotation. There's a negative connotation to it. It's a word that puts you in a specific category that you may feel that you're not in. You may actually feel that, your curiosity or your persistence or your codependency is actually romantic, attractive, and stimulating. But actually, it could be a huge turnoff to somebody. And especially if you've broken up or separated and you're still looking at all of their information. A stalker is not just somebody who has an intent to harm. A stalker is not just a predator who wants to scare you and dominate you. Sometimes a stalker is somebody who's really curious and lonely on the inside, really emotionally needy for some purpose. We've been talking lately about emotionally detached and uncaring parents, right? If you had that in your life growing up or some kind of trauma, you're likely to pursue any kind of a relationship in an obsessive way, perhaps, that seems to meet those emotional needs. So you could definitely become a stalker and not know it. And, there are times when maybe you do see it, but you don't have the power and the control to stop it. And that's okay. But I think it's also important that you understand that nobody deserves to be stalked, whether that's cyber stalking, stalking someone in person, whether that's psychological and emotional manipulation, whatever it is, they don't deserve that. Stalking is unwanted attention, okay? It's unwanted attention. The person is not interested in you. They're not interested in getting to know you or continuing to know you. And so they've put up a wall and it's important to respect that. So let's go ahead and jump into some of those characteristics, okay? So the first characteristic that you are likely to see in yourself if you feel that you're becoming some kind of a stalker is you're going to be intensely interested in that object of desire, but I encourage you to move over and away, okay? So in other words, move over the person in the situation, go on to the next thing, and then back away. It's not fair that you continue to pursue this individual behind their back or directly in front of their face, right? They don't want anything to do with you. And so the more you push, the more you kind of push them away. Now, there are some people who are really attracted to that and they will take you up on your offer. But there are other people who will say, you know what, this is a criminal. Stop going on my Facebook, posting things under different accounts. Stop looking at my photos online to see if I'm liking some other person's photos or posts, right? Stop sending me anonymous information, acting as if you're somebody else because I know it's you, right? Just stop on social media. And so you're going to get that other person run away from you. They're not going to be attached to you like you want them to. You're actually pushing them away as opposed to drawing them in. Okay, there's a movie that I'm going to put down in the comment section below for you that focuses on a stalker who just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept pushing, and he only made it worse. So watch that movie. It's a true story. It happened so many years ago. It's tragic. You may find that movie quite interesting. The next thing is unplug. I want you to unplug. Stop going online and trying to look for this person. Stop posting on their information. Stop looking at their text messages to you. Stop considering texting them or sending them a photo or doing anything electronically. Just unplug. If you are emotionally needy and codependent, the last thing that you want to do is try to fill that void by harassing that person with things. So just unplug. The next thing is explore childhood trauma. Now, we all know that childhood trauma can lead to adult trauma. And so if it's unresolved and you've never gotten the help that you've needed and you have these voids, your parents were emotionally detached and uncaring and just not very empathic, okay, you want to be able to say to yourself, okay, let me pump the brakes. Let me go reach out for my own psychotherapy, my own spiritual guidance, my own existential exploration, and figure out what kind of trauma is causing me to behave this way. Because at the core, you're most likely not a dangerous or, bossy kind of a person who's controlling. For the most part, you're operating off of unresolved emotions and trauma. So be open to exploring that. That's very, very important. The next thing is unravel your fantasy, okay, of the relationship. I think sometimes stalkers get so wrapped up in what can be or what could be or what was that they can't really see it's no more. Like, you need to stop, pump the brakes. That's my favorite word on this channel, pump those brakes, because if you don't pump them, you're going to be labeled a stalker. A stalker could be somebody who is continuing to persist despite being clearly told no. Even if you're not clearly telling them no, your body language, your attitude, your disposition, the way you talk to them is a clear signal. I don't want anything to do with you. So, if you're persistent and you're continuing and that person is saying no in whatever fashion, you need to stop. Just stop. I just told somebody who consulted with me to do the same thing. Just stop. It's not okay. And they can get you on stalking and harassment as well at some point, especially if they're tracking you and looking at you and really created a paper trail. You want to stop because it is a criminal offense. Once there's enough proof, you're going to jail or you're going to be charged or something's going to happen. So you don't want that, especially if you're not a predator. You're just an intimacy seeker and a rejected stalker. You don't want to do anything to get yourself in trouble. Okay. The next thing is understand the connection between thoughts, feelings, and emotions. Now, I talked about that right up here in the video about emotionally detached parents, but you can scroll all the way back. You might be able to actually look in the timestamps in the description box and click on CBT, and there's where I talk about the connection between thoughts, feelings, and behaviors. So go ahead and check that out. But learn that connection, because whatever you're processing up here has a lot to do with what you're processing in here, which has a lot to do with what your feet are going to do, what your behaviors are going to do, what your hands are going to do. And so you want to be able to understand that connection, okay? Because there's a huge connection, especially if you've had a traumatic childhood. Recognize stalking pushes the other person away. Again, like I said earlier, you're not going to get what you want. You're actually going to prove to them that you're unstable and you're not able to tolerate rejection. You're not able to tolerate that they don't want you emotionally, psychologically, physically, whatever. So understand that you're pushing them away. You're not doing anything to draw them in. Okay. I think also too, you want to, and this is hard for me to say because I'm not a medication pusher, and a lot of you are probably not in favor of medication, but consider it if it gets too out of hand. If you're obsessing, if you are like prowling online looking for information, if you're driving past their house when you know you shouldn't be, if you're trying to find out if they're dating somebody else, stop. If you're trying to get in touch with that new girlfriend or that new boyfriend, stop. You don't have the right to do that. It's not okay. And so, without pointing fingers, which is not what I'm trying to do, I'm just directly speaking, it's not okay. I think at that point, when you feel yourself obsessing, then what you're doing is really making yourself sick. You're ruminating. Here's the definition of ruminating right here. And that could lead to anxiety and tons of depression. And then once you get sick of the depression and the anxiety, guess what you're going to do? You're going to try to make something happen. And when that happens, then that's when you're getting yourself into trouble. So Again, pump those brakes, process, and consider medication. Medication that controls impulses can really be helpful. Medication for really increasing motivation and decreasing depression can really help. Maybe you can put that energy into something else. So consider medication. I know it's hard. Find the right doctor, find the right psychotherapist, give it a shot. That's all I can suggest with that. When medication is tricky, there's pros and cons. But if you really need it, please open your mind to it. I think it could be helpful for a lot of people who are dealing with being rejected and who are becoming almost like these anxious stalkers. They need to know, right? The next thing on my list here is think about the sentence. Like if you get caught and there's tons of evidence, you're going to jail. Like there's no other way to put it. You do not want that on your criminal record. You also do not want that in your history. This person can also ruin your reputation because you are stalking. So if they have videos of you or tracks that they can follow of yours or whatever, you're in big trouble. And I know you don't want that. So again, back away. And last but not least, I think you need to get help, and I think that help needs to be specific, and it needs to be trauma-informed or existential. And here's what I mean by that. Trauma-informed psychotherapy is really going to narrow down to one thing. What has happened to you that has made you this way? Okay, so this is important. You need that kind of a specialist to help you pull apart what's going on. And an existential psychotherapist such as myself would help you delve into the spiritual aspects, the emotional and the psychological of why you're doing what you're doing. And we're going to reframe it as, okay, you're not trying to harm this person necessarily. You want something, but why do you want it so badly? And what can we do to help you, right? So existential psychotherapy and trauma-informed care, I think, are the best approaches to helping you with this. Now, there are other approaches that could be helpful, but at the core, I think you really need to explore where's my trauma and where am I existentially, right? Where do I feel that I am spiritually and emotionally? Okay, these are tough, guys, but I hope they were helpful to you, and I hope that you can kind of explore, you know, what's going on with you and why you're behaving this way and why you need this contact with this person. So thank you so much for being with me today in this video. Please give it a thumbs up and go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you want to stick around with us. I'll see you in the next video. We're going to continue talking about these things that you guys have asked me to do videos on. I'll see you soon. Bye.